Possibly one of the scariest things right now that's getting zero attention is the ability for the global elites to rig the game and rig your interest rates and change them on you. So one of the big things in the investing community, and especially as someone who's in the real estate space the last 12 years and buying a lot of homes, helping people buy a lot of homes and sell, and then owning rental properties and apartment stuff myself, is you would tell people, hey, get a fixed rate. People generally knew that. Get a fixed rate. Variable rates, especially after the '08 crash, people saw how detrimental they can be, right? So the big thing is this LIBOR thing to SOFR. This is a big thing, and this is talking about, and you can read more about what was happening with this scandal. Andy Verity, LIBOR rigging scandal. He explains how in '08 it was central banks and government that pressed banks to bring down key interest rates, but none of this evidence was ever shown to jurors in 9 criminal trials. 37 traders and brokers have been prosecuted by the U.S. Department of Justice, backed up by supplemental published data. BBC reports that the suppressed evidence indicates that in October 28, central banks intervened on a large scale in setting the LIBOR and Euribor. This was the same time as dozens of former traders were criminally prosecuted for much less serious rate manipulation. So, again, more corruption, more rigging in the system. I don't know what else we need to do here to show people what is going on. Interest rate rigging, the prime rate, things like that. We have banks suppressing the price of gold and silver for decades. The commercial traders and buying or selling paper shorts, or selling paper. So shorting and suppressing the price of gold and silver. You have them trying to do it with Bitcoin now. You have the futures and the short ETF, and they won't put out a spot ETF. You have this constant manipulation over and over and over again. And again, it makes me think of two things: question everything's boldness, even the existence of God Himself. Right? So question everything. Follow the money, not the science. But also, if you're not involved in politics, in your local politics, which politics is local, it starts from the ground up. If you go to your PTA meeting once a year, and 10%, 20, 30% of people do that, and you know your candidates in your local town, that's all you need to know. And everyone does that, or to even 10% or 20 or 30%, and then everyone does it around the country. Think of how different things would be if people were actually involved and engaged. And there's so many good books. We have so many of them. The Naked Communist, The Capitalist Manifesto by Kiyosaki. We've got the Naked Communist here talking about how they try to confuse you and make you so disillusioned with the system that you don't even want to be involved in it. And that's exactly where we find ourselves. If you're not involved in politics, you'll be governed by your inferiors. And that's exactly where we find ourselves as Americans, especially Americans, so disillusioned with the system because really, everything's rigged against you, whether it's the voting system, whether it's the money being broken and stealing everything from you, the price is going up, people you have to pay off other people's debts, and on and on and on, right? The school system is completely broken. This whole system is completely broken, whether it's police brutality or the city's falling apart and homeless everywhere, right? Everyone's got a gripe. Everyone's got a complaint. Everyone sees what's going on. It's the empire in collapse. And it's because of this, of the rigging of the system, this economic manipulation going on. And how, you might ask, if you haven't seen any of our videos, let's explain what's going on. If you have fiat currencies, you can print it into oblivion. If you've been here for a while, you know where this is going. And by the way, this is the LIBOR to SOFR is another thing in all this that they're changing right now, where they can actually change the interest rate on you. If you have a fixed rate, well, too bad. Now you don't. That's happening right now. I believe that's July 1st that gets changed. So they're trying to change. It's like a $250,000,000. I think it was Mark Moss. It was a $250,000,000 worth of assets. They're just changing the rate structure, the rate bylaws. So what's going to happen there? The rates aren't going to match up perfectly, according to them. And this is something that Lynette Zhang has been talking about for a year or two. I've been watching her for years. She's been talking about this. A massive, massive change where they can just basically rug pull you. Oh, sorry, you signed this 10 years ago, 20 years, 30 years ago, 3 years ago. Sorry, it's changed. The rates changed. So anyway, that's another part of the story, which we'll have to do more about that in the coming month or two. But when you have currencies that are manipulated by the Fed being able to print the currency, whether it's physically or type digits into a computer, now you have the ability to pay yourself first, and everyone else has to deal with the inflation. The more there are currency units in the system, and there's still the same amount of goods, well, those currency units eventually come to find those assets or those consumer goods to buy, and now there's less of them. So the businesses have to raise their prices because there's inflation. There's more dollars now fighting for the same amount of goods. This is why Bitcoin is the revolution. It's a peaceful revolution because there's only 21 million, meaning you can't inflate it away. Also meaning it's a deflationary money. I know Jeff Booth doesn't like that, but I believe it's a deflationary money because we lose sats over time. We lose Bitcoin over time, small amounts here and there. So it's actually going the other direction. Instead of inflating away and losing value, it's actually deflating the currency supply, the Bitcoin supply. And so it's increasing in value constantly. So if you're living on a Bitcoin standard, you're constantly getting wealthier every 5 years, 10 years, 20 years over time. It's true savings. And again, this is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. So take this with what you will. Do your own research. Trust but verify. This is a clown world we live in though, because governments are able, fiat currencies all around the world, they're able to print everything. It's the cantillionaires, the Cantillon effect. They get to print, and the people closest to the currency printer get to spend it into existence and privatize the gains and then socialize the losses. Everyone else has to bear the losses, the bailouts, the higher prices, inflation, everything. That's why we Bitcoin. That's why we're proponents of sound money and hard money. I was gold, silver 10 years ago. I started out 10, 12 years ago, real estate, gold and silver. Then I realized there's something better. Bitcoin is the best thing we've ever seen as humans. We designed it to be the best thing we've ever had. Digital scarcity. This is the way we minimize polarization, division, and hate, attacks, straw man arguments, all the garbage you see. And things will still exist, obviously, right? I'm trying to paint a picture here, though. And so things like this, where you're changing LIBOR to SOFR, changing everything just arbitrarily. We don't even know what the Fed's going to do. Are they going to raise rates? Let's go through the notes and see what they said. It's clown world. We know the issuance of Bitcoin like clockwork. We already know out to 2140 until it hits zero. We know the issuance. We know the halving schedule. We know the money supply. We know we can audit everything. You can't do that with any of the banks. We don't know if they're going to be there tomorrow. We don't know if they're going to rig things. They're going to suppress the gold and silver price. They're going to print more currency. They're going to change the LIBOR rates, the interest rates. We have no idea. Who wants to live in that world? Why would you live in that world? This is why it's causing such chaos, because people can't measure anything in life. They can't measure value, and they can't run their life day to day because they have no idea what's going on. They have literally no idea. And they're strung along by these people over and over every single day. And then they're told that they're the terrorist. They're the domestic terrorist, asking a question why. They go to their PTA meeting, and they're asking why their kids are learning certain things. And then they're put on lists. Do you see where this is going, Anon? Do you see where this is going? It doesn't end well. And this is why we must be educated. We must understand what's going on. So please share this out. Let me know your thoughts. Please share this out because the algorithm hates truth. We know that to be the case. So we're doing more on Nostr. We're doing way more on Nostr. We put out our blogs there. Link in the description to our blog here. Should probably put our Nostr in here too. We get people sending us sats. We get paid to blog and put out good content on Nostr. Where, here we pay YouTube for our time and attention. So there's a new economy coming very quickly in the next few years. Bitcoin will probably be the number one topic in the presidential election 18 months from now. That's a long time from now. And Bitcoin's already living rent-free in the minds of so many people. So stay alert, stay buckled in, stay aware. This is not financial advice, it's freedom advice. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.